Well, welcome back to the channel. Again, we're here talking about our 4runner that you saw in the last video, talking about whether to keep the third generation 4runner or keep the first generation 4runner. And I had lots of comments on both. Keep this, keep that, keep both. But it seems like it's come time now to let the first gen go, and that's really a hard thing to do. I don't know if any of you can relate, but I've had this guy, which I call Dr. Pepper affectionately, because he kind of looks like a Dr. Pepper can, but also because I bought him way back in 1997, which was the year that I moved to Texas. And in Texas, they like their Dr. Pepper, and I like this Dr. Pepper down there too. And in any case, I liked the whole thing about this car. Just so you know, this 4runner has been with me for 27 years, maybe 28 years. So, you know, it's just a thing, inanimate object, although it's animated if you get it going. But I should be able to just let it go because it's just a thing, right? But I don't know, you car guys kind of know what I'm talking about, I think. I mean, stick shift. It's been with me through thick and thin for years and years. It had gone with me to ski trips to Colorado, hiking trips over in the way out west in Texas, in basically everywhere, and kind of hard to get rid of it, you know? I mean, this thing's been through the thick and the thin of it. So yeah, it had about 153,000 miles on it when I first purchased it. It had been taken very good care of by the owner, who lived in Georgia. So it was a southern vehicle. Had no rust whatsoever, of course, even at that age, which was 10 years old at the time, basically. But then I got it and moved to Texas. I'd seen these cars, this type of first generation 4runner, back home where we lived in Tennessee. Our neighbor had always been getting Toyotas and been getting 4runners like this, and so it was a very intriguing car to me all through high school and then in college. And then once I graduated from college, I was like, let's get one of these first generation 4runners. Of course, as many of you know, the first generation has a very special place in our hearts because it was the only one that was based on basically the kind of old style pickup chassis, but it was also had this rear top that came off just like the old Blazers and the old Broncos. So it was kind of a special deal. You could take that off and have a beach buggy kind of Jeep style experience. And so that was why this one here really caught my eye. Things I did to it, I didn't do a whole lot to modify it, but once I got it, I thought, well, I'm going to keep this thing. I'm not just going to maintain it, I'm going to actually upgrade it every time I did something to the mechanicals or what have you. Obviously, I didn't go crazy with any modifications. Basically, the only thing I really did was new wheels when I had finally got the money to do that and paid off my school debts and whatnot, and then had some extra money to like throw into something like this. But so we had the wheels. These are just aluminum wheels that I got way back in, I don't know, late 90s, probably 99 maybe. And then later on in about 2000, let's see, 4 or 5, I put on the manual hubs here instead of the old automatics that were kind of malfunctioning at times. And if you're Toyota people, you know what I'm talking about. And near the same time as putting those wheels on, I went in and did a very mild lift to the rear with none other than new shackles on the leaf springs, which lifted the rear, probably an inch or two, because, these old 4Runners, they get the saggy rear going down the road with the back end dragging down a little bit. I think you know what I'm talking about if you've been around 4Runners and Toyotas very long. But in any case, those are really the only real modifications that I've really done to it. I was waiting for more opportunities to do some upgrades, and then life happened. We got married, which is good. That's not bad. Still married, so that's awesome. And then we had kids. Priorities changed, so this car started becoming less of a priority to the other projects going on, including family and properties and businesses and everything else going on. Then 2008 came along and the economy went the way it went, and that kind of set in motion the whole problem with this car, because it now became a runabout that we had to use to get here and there and everywhere up here in the north, where rust and moth doth destroy. And so therefore, as you can see, running it up through the northern tundra of northern Indiana, the rust started pretty quickly, and it's progressed up until now to where, it's got some rust going on various places where there was some, breaks in the paint or what have you. That was heartbreaking. In fact, that started happening pretty quickly after I first brought it up to the north from Texas and Georgia and Tennessee, those areas. And so that was kind of started the whole process of this car going the way of all things in this world. I mean, this rust here that you see on the chrome started coming out pretty quickly after we came up to the north. So, it's hard to think about letting it go. I mean, most people would be like, this is such a hoopty, get rid of that thing. But Toyota guys, people that know, care, that do care, they see this and they're a little bit perturbed by the idea of getting rid of it, which all of you in the comments on the last video have to say thank you for your kind words and your recommendations and your, thoughts about whether to keep this or let it go. But in any case, I think I found somebody that wants to purchase this car that actually is looking to pursue using it for a project car. So apparently they are not scared off by the rust. They realize that this frame is still intact, so they're looking at maybe redoing that, doing something special with it, which I'm more happy to let it go for somebody that's going to do that. But they also see that the interior is pretty good, that we're pretty decent as far as, the headliner still looks almost brand new, which is awesome. Seats were taken pretty good care of over the years. The dash is still intact with no cracks. There's a few things that need to be tended to. One other thing that we did when I had it was the transmission went out for some reason, which is weird on a manual, but I did have a replacement from a Tacoma or a pickup that they put in here, and it's been running well ever since. That was probably around 1998, 99 maybe. So, you know, still in pretty good shape. A few parts need to be put on. But all in all, considering the way that these things don't last up here in the north, it's in pretty decent shape, in my opinion. Of course, everybody else has their own opinions, but yeah, hard to see it go. It's had skis put in the back to go up to Colorado, Durango, Wolf Creek, I think is the other one. Breckenridge, and where else? Guadalupe Mountain. Hiked up the Guadalupe Mountain, which is the highest point in Texas. Went to big South Bend National Park or State Park in Texas with this bad boy. Paladura Canyon, the beaches of Galveston. Drove all over New Orleans area when I moved over there for a short 9-month assignment, and lived in Kenner, worked in Metairie. So any of you that know that area know what I'm talking about. Then moved up here, and actually we had our firstborn, and brought him home in this car. So that's another thing. I mean, that is a bit of a emotional tie to this car. Although he's now 16, and this car doesn't really mean much to him. So that's kind of heartbreak, but it's okay, because everybody has their own desires for the cars. He's a car guy too, but he's more into, drifters and EG Civics and pretty good stuff. I mean, I like it, but in any case, I offered him this car when he was about 13 or 14. If he would fix it up, he could have a car to drive when he was 16. That would be his, and I'd pay for all the upkeep and everything, thinking he would jump on that, which he did for a little bit, but then it kind of morphed into something that he was a little too much for him to do or care about, so he ended up not doing that. In any case, I'm gonna finish this video now, because I know you're probably bored to tears about this if you hung on to this late stage in the video. But if you enjoyed the story, then go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And stay tuned for the next video, where we might go into a little bit more detail about what's going to happen with this guy that's buying it, depending on what he decides to do. So, until then, keep driving it home.